Boxing isn't just a sport. It's a battlefield of grit, passion, and fierce rivalries. Some bouts go beyond titles and punches. They make history. Are you ready to relive the moments that shook the ring? Through heart-stopping knockouts, controversial decisions, and intense trilogies, these rivalries captured the world's attention. You'll hear about the personal feuds, the training camps filled with tension, and the moments inside the ring that had everyone on their feet. By the end, you'll know why these rivalries are etched in the minds of fans worldwide. Plus, we'll share some of the lesser-known stories behind these battles that make them even more fascinating. So, stick around, hit the like button, and subscribe if you haven't already. And let us know in the comments, which boxing rivalry do you think deserves the title of the greatest? Let's settle the score together. Boxing has seen some of the most intense and unforgettable rivalries in sports history. These clashes are defined not just by the punches exchanged, but also by the passion, skill, and resilience of the fighters. Among the most iconic are the rivalries between Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier, Manny Pacquiao and Juan Manuel Marquez, and Arturo Gatti and Mickey Ward. Each of these rivalries delivered epic battles and moments that have transcended the sport. Muhammad Ali versus Joe Frazier. Ali and Frazier's rivalry is often considered the pinnacle of boxing rivalries. It spanned 3 legendary fights from 1971 to 1975, capturing global attention with its blend of athleticism and cultural significance. The first bout, the fight of the century, saw Frazier hand Ali his first professional loss in a grueling 15-round battle. Ali, coming off a hiatus due to his refusal to serve in the Vietnam War, was pitted against Frazier, who had become a symbol of working-class determination. Their rematch in 1974, though less dramatic, saw Ali even the score with a unanimous decision. The final showdown, the Thrilla in Manila, tested both fighters' limits of endurance. Ali emerged victorious after Frazier's trainer stopped the fight before the 15th round, though Ali himself was on the verge of collapse. This trilogy is remembered as a clash of titans, both in the ring and in cultural symbolism. Manny Pacquiao versus Juan Manuel Marquez. The rivalry between Pacquiao and Marquez delivered 4 unforgettable bouts, each adding new layers to the narrative. Their first meeting in 2004 ended in a controversial draw after Pacquiao dominated early, but Marquez rallied late. In their second fight, Pacquiao won a razor-thin split decision, a verdict that many felt could have gone either way. Their third encounter in 2011, for Pacquiao's WBO welterweight title, also ended in controversy, with Pacquiao taking a majority decision. However, it was their fourth fight in 2012 that truly settled the debate. Marquez knocked Pacquiao out cold with a perfectly timed counterpunch in the 6th round, providing a definitive ending to their storied rivalry. The 2-1-1 record slightly tipped in Pacquiao's favor, but Marquez's dramatic knockout remains one of boxing's most iconic moments. Arturo Gatti versus Mickey Ward. The trilogy between Gatti and Ward is celebrated for its sheer grit and mutual respect. Their first bout in 2002 was a brutal slugfest that Ward won by decision. Gatti adjusted his strategy for the rematch, showcasing superior boxing skills to win convincingly. The final fight tested both men to their limits, with Gatti breaking his hand early, but continuing to fight. Ward seized the moment, delivering a relentless assault, but Gatti's resilience carried him to victory. Despite the absence of world titles, the trilogy epitomized the heart and determination of boxing. The two fighters forged a lasting friendship after their battles, underscoring the profound respect they had for each other. Each rivalry produced iconic moments and unforgettable battles. Frazier drew first blood against Ali, only to see Ali triumph in their legendary trilogy. Pacquiao and Marquez left fans debating who was superior, though Marquez delivered the rivalry's defining moment. Meanwhile, Gatti and Ward fought not for titles, but for pride and respect, leaving an indelible mark on boxing. These clashes remind us that victory is not just about winning, but also about the courage and heart shown in the face of adversity. These rivalries were deeply memorable because of the personal, cultural, and emotional layers that added intensity to each fight. They weren't just contests of athleticism, but stories of perseverance, identity, respect, and raw human emotion. First, the personalities of the fighters and their contrasts played a huge role. Each rivalry was driven by fighters with unique styles, attitudes, and motivations that clashed in fascinating ways. Ali's charisma, sharp wit, and verbal taunts created a dramatic narrative around his fights with Frazier. Meanwhile, Frazier, who was quieter and more grounded, often seemed caught in the shadow of Ali's larger-than-life persona. This made their encounters feel not just physical, but symbolic of two opposing forces, flash versus grit. Similarly, Pacquiao's explosive, fast-paced style contrasted with Marquez's calm and calculated counterpunching approach, creating a compelling dynamic where neither fighter had a clear upper hand. Gatti and Ward, on the other hand, had strikingly similar mentalities as warriors willing to endure unimaginable punishment, which made their rivalry more about shared respect than opposition. These contrasts gave each rivalry its own unique character and kept fans emotionally invested. Another factor was the emotional stakes. These rivalries weren't just about titles or records. They were personal, and that came through in the way each fighter approached the ring. Ali and Frazier's relationship was fueled by public insults and deeply personal jabs, particularly Ali's racial comments about Frazier, which caused significant tension and anger. Marquez and Pacquiao's fights were defined by years of frustration and controversy, with razor-thin margins and disputed decisions leaving each man feeling like they always had something to prove. Meanwhile, Gatti and Ward's trilogy, though fought with no bad blood, became unforgettable because of the sheer emotional toll each fight took, not just on the fighters but also on the fans who watched their physical limits being pushed. These weren't just fights, they were human stories. Each rivalry showcased fighters at their most vulnerable, whether it was Ali admitting he was pushed to his limit in Manila, Pacquiao lying motionless on the canvas after Marquez's knockout, or Gatti fighting through a broken hand just to see the bout through. Fans didn't just witness great fights, they connected to the fighters as people who showed unyielding spirit in the face of pain and adversity. The emotional toll and vulnerability displayed in these rivalries changed how fans connected with boxing. Gatti and Ward in particular showed that boxing wasn't just about skill, but also about heart, resilience, and mutual respect. Their fights weren't for world titles, but for something more universal: pride and the willingness to give everything in the ring. This shifted perceptions of boxing, making it clear that even without belts on the line, fights could become legendary if the stakes were personal and the effort was monumental. These matchups also helped turn boxing into a form of high-stakes theater. Ali's gift for promotion, his trash talk, rhymes, and ability to turn fights into spectacles set a template for modern boxing promotions. The drama surrounding Pacquiao and Marquez's controversial decisions kept fans debating long after the fights were over, increasing the sport's visibility. Meanwhile, the pure action of Gatti Ward created a blueprint for fan-favorite fights: relentless, no-holds-barred battles that deliver entertainment above all else. These rivalries influenced how fighters approach the sport, inspiring future champions to embrace boldness, adapt their styles, and connect with fans emotionally. They also set new expectations for what rivalries could achieve, whether in terms of global appeal, cultural relevance, or the ability to craft unforgettable narratives. In essence, these epic matchups transformed boxing into more than a sport. They created moments that resonated beyond the ring, setting standards for storytelling, cultural impact, and emotional depth that continue to shape the sport today. Each punch, every round, and all the sacrifices these fighters made remind us why boxing is called the sweet science. It's not just about power or skill, it's about the courage to stand up, even when you've been knocked down, There are so many more rivalries and stories in boxing worth exploring, and they're just as thrilling. So, if you love these kinds of moments, stick around, because there's plenty more to come. Stay tuned, and let's keep celebrating the fighters and fights that make boxing truly unforgettable.